I'm Steve Cummings. I'm CEO of Nova Consulting Group. We started out in 1987. We wanted to form an environmental engineering company to service the commercial real estate market. And at first our goals were pretty modest. We opened an office in Chicago and Minneapolis because they're pretty large banking hubs. And so we formed what we thought would be a very good boutique environmental engineering firm based in the Midwest. We provide due diligence and usually on the lending side, on the debt side. So our clients can be Wall Street, it can be large commercial banks, people lending money to commercial real estate. And they need to know if there's any issues with that property and what they're lending money to. Well, it was starting to take off in the 1980s. Liability from pollution, people lending money to buildings that were structurally sound, that type of thing, and they were getting burned. And so people started looking into it and wanted to safeguard from those kind of issues. And so we thought there's a pretty good niche out there to go after this market and provide the best services for anybody buying, selling, or lending money to commercial property transactions. So that was the gist of it. Well, it's certainly changed a lot. In 1987, it was just starting to take off. Environmental engineering was a young man's sport. Everybody was in their 20s. Now they're all gray-haired like myself. Less of a maybe entrepreneurial aspect as it was in 1987, but there is still a lot of opportunity for growth in our industry. The two coasts, being LA and New York, are probably our strongest markets right now that we work in. We started out with about 10 people in our organization. My two partners, and then we had a half dozen or so employees. There was two kind of points in our growth of our company that were significant. In 2001, we decided to go more national in our approach, from a regional environmental engineering company to more of a national one. And then around 2013, the opportunity internationally. Most of our clients are multinationals, and they really wanted us to open some offices. Now we have 160 employees and about 500 of what we call associates. And associates are 1099 or independent contractors. We like our ratio to be about 4-to-1 employees to associates. So my path really wasn't a traditional one. In college, I really enjoyed biochemistry. So I knew I wanted to do something related to that field. So I took the entrance test for both graduate school as well as dental school. These are not the hands of a dentist. I transferred very quickly into grad school. And so that's how I really started in my field. Well, I always wanted to be my own boss, and I knew that. So when I'm in grad school and I'm learning about toxicology, which is the field I went into, which is related to biochemistry, I thought, how can I turn this into a business? I think one of the keys to being a successful business person and an entrepreneur is to be able to hire really smart people. People that are smarter than you are, they know more than you, and they have the same values you have. Well, I just think values is a huge part of any organization, and that's why I take so much time in hiring folks. And at Nova, we try to give back. We try to find people that think the way we think in terms of it's not just about a bottom line. It's about doing some good in the world as well. And you can do both. We're at everything. St. John's really formed who I am from a business perspective. I played football at St. John's, and so I'd go up to the games when I was in high school. There was bigger schools that you could have played for, but there was something magical about St. John's that you feel at the football field, you feel it at the refectory, you feel it at the Abbey. It's just something else, and I think it was part of my DNA, to be honest with you. My wife went to St. Ben's, and my kids grew up going to football games and hearing ad nauseum how great St. Ben's was. When my second oldest was looking at colleges, she said she was not interested in St. Ben's. It's too close, blah, blah, blah. But she went up there, took a tour, and came back that day and said, Mom, I'm in. This is it, I'm going. And then, of course, her sister went there, and then her brother went there, and they all get it. They understand, and they're as enthusiastic as I am to this day. So it is pretty interesting how much of a legacy there is with that school. I see it with all my friends now. Their kids are friends with my kids because they went to St. John's. There is a brotherhood at St. John's and St. Ben's, sisterhood, that is like no other. I recently came back from my 35 your reunion. God, I'm old, but unbelievable experience. It's like you hadn't left, and the love you immediately share again with your friends and classmates is just incredible. As an entrepreneur, you really need to look at the world multidimensionally. And what I learned at St. John's is through a liberal arts education, you get the technical education, but what you really learn is how to think. And that's something extremely important in the business world. My advice would to be not afraid. Afraid not to fail, number one, because you're going to fail a lot, and I've done it multiple times. And not afraid to try new things. You put yourself out there a lot as an entrepreneur, and that's what is invigorating, because maybe 1 out of 10 works, but when it does, there's no better feeling in the world. And Nova is a very entrepreneurial company. I try to hire entrepreneurs. In fact, I have a lot of Johnnies and Bennies that work for me. I find a key element in a successful entrepreneur is one that has a visceral enthusiasm. When they get up in the morning, you have butterflies on what the day could be and where you can take the company. And after 35 years, I still have that. I really, really enjoy what I do. I wake up every morning excited.